showing 5:30. Are we good? Okay, it's 5:30, so we're going to call the meeting to order. And the first item up is Pledge of Allegiance, and Terry's going to probably lead us tonight.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our mission statement will be read by Michael Beaufort.
Beaufort County Schools will provide quality educational programs and services to ensure student academic and vocational success.
Okay, thanks. I'm assuming we probably have no public comments since I don't see very much public here. Okay, that moves us to the approval of the agenda. Is there any changes or anybody needs to make a notation of anything different? No?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve as it is before us. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have the agenda and approval of board minutes. You will see, let's see, August the 1st, well, that's it, August the 1st meeting minutes, and I'm assuming you probably had a chance to look over those.
Move approval.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Minutes approved, so we're moving right along. We're going to have a no action item, an update on grievance procedures.
Yeah, one of the things that we try to do in the summer is to take a look at what we've been dealing with throughout the school year and find opportunities to tighten up procedures, close loopholes, deal with issues that have been problematic for us. And the grievance procedure that we've had in place for a while, and it can be cumbersome for a parent or someone to go through that. So I asked Kim Edwards to take a look at it, and what you've got in front of you is not something we're seeking approval on. We just want you to be aware of this. We've redone the procedure chart so it's easier to follow. There are forms that are filled out so that a parent or a person who's grieving a decision would know if it's level 1, level 2, level 3, and it's spelled out so there's no guesswork. It's very transparent in terms of what the intent is and what the concerns are, and then that may trip into a harassment or bullying complaint or something like that, but it's spelled out very clearly as opposed to what we've had in the past, and just wanted you to be aware that we're going to be implementing that. Principals have been trained on it, and it'll be going into play when the students are back in full force in a couple weeks.
Okay. So you won't, this isn't anything like a first reading. You won't be bringing this back to us. It's just a FYI kind of thing.
The policy that's there is not a revision. It's just a copy of the policy that all of our work is bound and based around. So I wanted you to be aware of it.
Dr. Phipps, I have a quick question about this. It all looks fine, but if someone fills any of these forms out, and they're very self-explanatory, so it doesn't look like they would be difficult to do, but will that form stay at the respective school, or will it stay at school and maybe with you? I mean, how aware do they make you of these things? So
It depends on what the decision was, and you try to grieve at the level where the decision was made. So if it was a school-based decision, they address it at school-based, and if it gets resolved, then I may not be aware of it.
right.
And we haven't gone back to say we're going to follow up on how many grievances were filed. We probably want to get that information. But I'm generally not aware of it unless it's not resolved, then it comes to me.
Oh, okay.
Because it says teacher, principal, superintendent, board of education.
That's right. So if the public were to grieve it, or someone in the public grieves a decision that I made, they would come to you. If it's a principal, then it would come to me.
But if it stops here, you don't even have to know about it.
That's right. And hopefully most of the issues will be resolved, we would hope.
Now, do any of the documents talk about what resolution might come up?
We ask for the resolution. That's one of the person who's the grievant will ask what the issue is, and then what they would like to see as a resolution to give us some idea of what we're working with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just for your
information,
enjoyment and reading, I guess. Okay, let's move into the action portion, and that will be a capital update. And I see Mr. Stan Hudson's ready to go.
Good afternoon.
Stan.
First thing up is 16-17 capital update dated 8/14/17. Give y'all a brief update of the last few projects finishing up.
Okay.
South side should be completed this week, other than the actual door. The door came in yesterday and it was damaged, but we will have the frame up, the storefronts up, so it will limit access not to the school. They will be directed in the office like we do at P.S. Jones and John Small. Some other schools, we just won't have that door to to per se lock.
That's the door that goes through the wall?
Yes, sir, the one that goes through the
Gotcha.
wall. That door came in and I wouldn't accept it, so it
Okay.
had too many dings and dents. Cockwinnie Middle School has been completed by Stockton Taylor. Very nice looking project. Everything's in place there. Ed Tech Center's up. We've got just a little bit of finished molding to do, plant ops, and we're trying to get that finished back this week. And North Side is up, and we should finish the installation of the electronic components to those locks this week. The doors have been changed out and they're up and working. And that changes with that. One that I had was item number 8. It's the only other project we had in our 16-17 that had not been completed. This was a principal request, and it was always one of mine pet peeves of the height of this thing and actually being a useful structure due to rain. And in a drizzle rain, it would probably get somebody dry in the building, but at 13.6, high in the air and 6 foot wide, you're not going to have much dry. You got to drive in rain. So I spoke to Mr. Randy, and he was willing to, Walker, with GW Walker, was willing to give this project back if it was the board's decision to do so. And we could use that money to fix some other awnings we have at some of our other at Chocowinity Primary. We have 2 awnings. One was tore up by water and one was tore up by wind. So,
Were neither one of those covered by insurance?
and our deductibles too high.
Deductibles, 50,000. Yeah,
Well, I guess not then, right?
$50,000.
I'll keep that in
Major
mind.
storm, that's not a big deal, but for
Right.
something like this.
On
it's
a
lot.
little storm, it is.
Right, I didn't know.
And one of them had been torn down prior to me coming here. From what I understand, it was put back, and it was dinged and dent, but that's the last one that the wind took up. The plant out the guys had put it up 6 years ago or more, and it had lasted that long on its second life. So, but it went over top of the building and poked 60-some holes in the roof the day the wind got in it, so.
Yeah, my house was struck by lightning. I know all about deductibles.
Yeah, if the gym blows over, like if we had in Hurricane, 50,000, it's
Then-
not that big a deal, but on the awning, you kind of out of luck.
That's right.
You've got Eastern and CPS in here. Tell me again what
Well, I'd like to do away with the Eastern project, defer it back, and maybe put it on later in future
Okay.
years if it's a true need in the future. Not really do away with the project, but do away the funding of the project and reallocate the funds from this project to fix the other
got
2
you.
awnings we have, being we're so limited on our
Yeah.
capital funds.
Okay.
It was
And,
my
and you've
request.
actually got that listed on the second, well, I printed it, second page.
Correct, it did go to the second
Item
line, I'm
11.
sorry, the way it printed, it did print to the second line, yes.
Now, you had mentioned, I know the one that the water got, I know where that one's at, that's the last one that was put up. Which is the other awning, you were
It's
telling
on
me
the
earlier, but I
pre,
can't,
it's on the
still can't
pre-K
quite figure it.
hallway, when you go out to the office to the right, first classroom on the left. It's
Okay.
in that courtyard, and it's the one closest to Ms. Vosberg's office.
Gotcha.
It flipped over the building.
You think that'd be enough, no, I know you won't know,
To
you
do
put some
both. I'm
bids that we're gonna see.
99.9% sure we can do both projects under that
Okay.
$9,000 mark.
Okay, so if the board decides to, and it's up to whatever the board decides, we can defer this money back to the fund, and at the same, we can just make one motion, and at the same time, you just use the funds to allocate to that.
17, 18.
And will you go ahead and get us some bids
Yes, sir.
out on that work?
Yes,
Then-
sir.
So we'll know before too long where we stand on our money.
At the
Well-
next meeting.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that, but that's up to the board, whatever y'all want to do.
I'm gonna recuse
Oh,
myself
I
from
got
any
you,
of
I
that.
got you, I got you. So take one awning at Eastern off, or the money back, put the money against the next 2 projects, and you'll come back and let us know where we came out on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's up to the board, whatever y'all want to decide.
You need a separate motion for that.
No, we just do it all in one motion if that's what you want to do.
What 2 projects are you putting it towards?
Number 11.
2 awning projects.
Number 11.
Chocowinity Primary.
But only one of them is actually listed. That's why I was asking him about the second one, because I wasn't sure.
There's
where it
2
was at.
awnings at Chocowinity Primary.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
2.
all right.
That's just, that's damage that he needs to fix, but I wasn't sure where the second one was either, Butch. I guess it blew away and I didn't see it.
It's in my office,
Because I knew I hadn't seen one out there, so
Blew it off the
I
list.
guess it blew it off the list.
But you said you think you can do that with the budget that we had for Eastern?
Yes, sir.
To do both of those
Yes,
projects?
sir.
But you'll bring it back for us
I
and
will
approve
bring it
it
back.
anyway, so it won't matter,
I
yeah.
will.
Just stick to that, or we'll have to talk about it when he gets back. So if you want to make a motion, that way we'll entertain it, or it's whatever the board decides.
So moved.
That was a lot of
There's a lot of thought on that one.
That was one of the most unsure motions I've ever. All I'll even ask
Butch,
you, are you
wanna
sure
think-
about
Yeah, you
that?
wanna think about it?
We're not
It's all right,
forcing,
Butch, I seconded for you.
we're not forcing you into it.
Well, I was just thinking, if,
Okay.
can GW Walker do the work at Chocowinity Primary for what what's budgeted? Have you discussed that with them?
I did speak with Mr. Randy before the meeting, and he said he thought they could. He would like to look at his numbers too before he would do it.
My thought is, I hate to take work away from them that has already been approved, and then, if this same work can be done for the same money, and then,
Right.
or less, and had to go back out for rebid. I mean, it was my only concern.
No, I'm fine with that. If you would work with them to get us a price on fixing the other twos, because they've actually done the work on those awnings already.
Correct.
So that's where we need to go
One of
back.
them, yeah.
Right, on one of them. So that's where we need to go back to. And so I'm assuming in his motion, that's what we'll do. And then you come back and bring us that figure and we'll move
Yes.
forward.
Okay,
We're not going to give him a free hand to just go do it till he comes back and reports to us.
okay.
Okay, so I do have a motion, and I think Ms. P said she would second it.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to doing it that way? Okay, good deal.
Accused.
Yeah, right, one to my left here. Well, and actually, Sam, when you print this out, that until we get some funds somehow from the county on capital, I'm not gonna make the joke and ask, what are your men doing? Because I know you got plenty of everyday maintenance. But I guess now's a good time to catch up, because there's not many projects out there to do.
Please tell me that we are really going to have Washington High School air conditioned tomorrow. I'm seeing 816 on there.
That's the next question, is compressors.
It should be up tomorrow. Everything,
Yes.
as addressed on my update, yes, Washington High School's on the list.
Hot in there.
We actually fired one chiller up yesterday temporarily just to see if it would run. It did come up and work.
Good.
We filled both systems up with water. We had a couple leaks on the number 2. They've been repaired. Everything's up. We had a bad sensor on number 2, and Russ ordered that and had it expedited in here, so we'll have it tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We are scheduled to do a full startup. But we needed there's several different entities involved other than just Brady just doing the thing. We have the Hankinson chillers that's involved. We got the cooling tower, and then we have our control folks that do our chemical, and then we have our automation side. So we had to get all parties together at one meeting so we can make sure it all works. We didn't want to get it up and then we'd not be able to have control of it or not be able to see it. So we have asked all parties involved. We're going to have 5 different companies in there tomorrow morning to bring it up.
So it might actually be cool by Thursday.
It'll take it a while to bring that
Right,
building down.
right,
yes, ma'am,
it's
and to
really
get humidity
hot.
down and
Yeah.
make sure all the windows are closed and
You can almost see the water running down the walls. It's so humid and it's terrible.
You're on waterfalls.
Are you aware of any problems?
Yeah.
Very peaceful.
Yeah.
As you sweat to death.
Trickling waterfalls.
yes, sir.
Okay. I got a text today that it was a lot warmer in a classroom than what they thought it should be, but told them to report it to the principal, so.
It might be that the set points, they're not supposed to be there yet.
That's
so
kinda what
the
I
set
figured. It's
point
probably-
range is different. It'll change all next week to the regular school
That's kinda what I
schedule. So it could be that one of them will set back for our summer off.
This is something new.
But we would check it. If it's out around, Russ should get the text message off from our automation side of what we have automated. The whole school's not automated, on the part of it. The newer sections are automated in the front part, of course, the 100 building, the 200 building. 300 is not, so, because of those sections we're in. If it is one of the older sections, then they have full control in the classroom, it may be a bad unit, because they all have through-the-wall units, that type of stuff.
Okay. I'll check into it a little deeper and let you know.
Yes, let me know what room, I'll be glad to get it checked.
Let's move over, you've already talked compressors, but let's open, instead of the quotes, how about the third one? Yeah, open the third one where it says chiller compressor funding, northeast and south side.
And you all may recall, we talked with you about this in June, and we had some problems at Northeast and at Southside with air conditioner compressors, and you all gave me and Stan the permission to go before the commissioners and seek funding for this, and I was not able to go, but we had several folks, including Terry, that went, and they did not allocate us any additional money, but they gave us the flexibility of removing or putting taking a project off to do this. So what we wanted to do, we didn't have it recorded in the minutes anywhere, but we felt like we needed to be able to show you that the price that we had was $123, $109. And then what we are recommending is that the asphalt projects that are on the list, we put those on hold, and we get this project finished, and then we circle back around and see where we're at in terms of having any savings, and then start knocking off some of those asphalt projects. When you do the math, you may realize that we've got a $12,000 asphalt project at Chocowinity that we really don't have to include on that list because it would get us to the dollar figure that we need, but we felt like if we were doing one asphalt project, it's hard to determine which of those 4 to do, and we may get a better deal when we bid all those out. So we just want to put those on hold and bring them back to you after we have a better idea of where we're at on our total expenditures and capital. We don't have many projects because we've got a limited amount, so it should not take very long this year to come back and say we're well down the list and this is what we recommend we go after next. But this would not allocate any fund balance, and we're limited. We've got about $87,000 in capital fund balance right now. And as you see, just the air conditioner compressor project would consume that plus more. So we've got to be careful where we're at in terms of our expenditures.
Okay, but we do want to have a motion to make this official, because these compressors were never actually put on the capital list. So if what he has said is acceptable, if someone would I would entertain a motion to make this official.
Second.
Okay. Got a motion. Is there any last questions, as if that was confusing anyone? Nothing's taken off, just some things have been moved ahead of others. And then we'll come back and see where we're at on money as we get further down the road.
My other question is, I see just one quote from one vendor. Is that?
It's both, it was purchased through U.S. Communities. It's already a pre-negotiated contract price for the whole state.
Yep, okay.
And we need it.
And they're the only vendor in the North Carolina,
I
too.
figured that was the
We
case.
need them.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions right quick? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, so it's official. Okay.
Can I go on record, though, and say,
Yes.
my concern is that these are compressors within larger units, and they have failed. And as equipment gets older, and we're doing what we can in terms of preventative maintenance, we are going to continue to have these kinds of issues come up, which is why it's critical that we have some funding and capital to be able to work with this. Continue to work on it as they go along. But I believe this was, how many, three?
3
Out of 9 that
of the larger ones, yeah.
So.
They're all about the same age.
And I'll go on record and say, keep your fingers crossed.
David.
Because this could turn out to be not a fun year.
In Southside, we had two of them up, and then we had a bad sensor today, so we hope tomorrow Southside will be up. We had to pull the technician off of Southside to go to PS Jones because we had a faulty sensor there this afternoon, so we're trying to keep them all cool.
It's expensive.
Yes, it is. And I'm not sure they heard, just as a FYI, in preparing for the meeting to go to the commissioners, I had Stan do a quick inventory along with someone of compressors that we have in the county, because someone had asked me, how would you have 3 compressors go bad at one time? How many compressors do you, I remember the number, but you want me to throw it out?
Yes, sir, I don't remember.
332 in the county. And about 150 of those, though, are what I would call smaller compressors for wall units, et cetera. But over 100 and another 150 were large roof type or that kind of variety compressors. So when you have 3 that goes bad, yeah, it's a big number, but not when you have 300.
It's 1%.
That's right. All day long. Any other questions for Stan? Thank you. Thank you. Technology revision, and I think Dr. Phipps, wow, is going to handle that.
Yeah, these are actually second readings, and we had these in front of you in April, and we wanted to hold off on the technology piece just to make sure that Mark Malick and Andrea and Michelle Orris at the time had gone through these. The only thing I would say as a caveat is that we have one that deals with online instruction, and as we roll out our virtual academy and get that developed, we'll be coming back to you all with a little bit more guidance on how to handle students that are in that program, but we don't have it up and running yet, so we'll come back to it. But all of these are reflecting changes that were made at the General Assembly level. There were some things that were added from the School Board Association to deal with internet safety and the use of social media. We've been through all of that. We talked about it back in the early spring, but we're bringing these to you tonight just for approval.
Okay, I do remember seeing all these before. Any questions? If not,
Move to approve.
Second.
okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. That's official. I will now entertain a motion to go to closed session.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A1 to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files under General Statute 115C-321.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion second to go into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're in closed session. Okay, we're back in open session, and the first item for business is to approve the personnel agenda that was just discussed.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, personnel is approved. Calendar, any calendar changes? I think our next meeting is Wednesday week, well,
I didn't see an,
formal
there's not an
meeting.
attachment for
The
the
23rd.
We don't
calendar.
have anything on there for that. We've got the new teacher cookout tomorrow night, 6 o'clock at Ed Tech, and then we got a meeting Monday morning, don't we?
Yes, sir.
That's correct, yeah, Monday morning. Is that at 8?
At 8 o'clock.
Please.
Here?
Sure.
Sure. Well, sometime we met at school.
Oh, we have, but I think that was maybe we were doing the
The Washington
opening
thing.
ceremonies for the, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So 8 o'clock Monday morning will be our next meeting as a board.
And then the
Okay.
23rd is a meeting that we're going to have with the curriculum.
Okay. Anything else?
Why do we stop doing the opening ceremony?
None.
On Monday?
With that, but the amount of time teachers needed in the classroom because we were cut back so deep on teacher work days.
Oh,
And we
okay.
said we try to do it on alternating years or so instead of doing it every single year.
Oh, okay.
Did we hire done our ed tech?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll be a pick picking again.
That's tomorrow at 6.
6 p.m. at Ed Tech.
6 o'clock. Okay. Any board member updates? I believe Mr. Oliver had something he wanted to mention.
Yeah, just something I'd like to mention to the public and to the other board members. There's going to be a fundraiser for Evan Cornelius, who's a student just graduated from Northside High School, at the Bath Ruleton Club on Monday, August 21st. Be a chicken dinner plate fundraiser. Time will be from 5 to 7. So just like to encourage the public to come out and support that fundraiser.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to say to you that on last Saturday, the grounds that was donated to the, behind the Ed Tech building, excuse me, we had groundbreaking and dedication on last Saturday morning. And we were just so enthused to have our superintendent there and our KB Reynolds person that gave us the money. And it was really, really a beautiful ceremony. And everybody is grateful to the board and to the system for allowing them to have the opportunity to have a community park in the name of the P.S. Jones Alumni Memorial Park. So I just want to say, on the behalf of the P.S. Jones Alumni, thank you.
How many people were in town for that? Because I
Oh, my
saw
God.
in all the hotels was P.S. Jones alumni
Oh my
everywhere.
God. I
So-
want to tell you that the grounds out at Ed Tech was covered, were they not,
Okay.
Dr.
They were.
Phipps?
Okay, there had to be a lot because the hotels were all over.
It was really, really great. We had a beautiful time. And the whole weekend, we celebrated the P.S. Jones School, and it was great.
And I
So anybody that didn't go to P.S. Jones missed it.
missed it.
Yes.
And I don't know if they'd already started to work before the groundbreaking. I'm assuming the groundbreaking, then they started work. But I was by there yesterday,
Yeah.
and they've already done work.
Yeah,
So
they
they've
are
jumped right on.
building,
They've
now
jumped right on it.
they are building on the restrooms. The restrooms are coming up, and they had, of course, we broke ground
Right.
for the buildings. Hopefully, in about approximately 60 days, the restrooms should be in place. And I'm constantly on the backs of them because I want to see it come up, and we're ready to get some equipment on the grounds, and that's what they are waiting. That's what KB Reynolds is waiting. The funds are waiting for the preparation.
You don't have that happen often, do you?
No,
You have the
no,
money waiting.
no.
Well, I'm glad to see the property being used. I mean, it's been a
Yes.
big open space just sitting there for a long time. So. Okay, superintendent updates.
Teacher of the Year, Principal of the Year banquet, we didn't mention that, August the 31st at 6 o'clock at Ed Tech. We'd love to have you for that. I had written down what Ms. Booth just mentioned as well, the land dedication, and I just want to say, the P.S. Jones alumni group, a lot of them have some age on them, But despite that age, they are as strong and proud and passionate a group of individuals as you're going to find. And it is just great to see some things going on that are great to carry on that name and for that community to have something to rally around. Our early college students started last week. Been off to a good start. Our teachers return on the 21st, and then our students are going to be back on the 28th. We have the Stuff the Bus campaign going on this Saturday, August the 19th, at the Walmart parking lot. So if you could come by and drop off school supplies, we'll get those out to students who need them. If you can't do it that day, we'd be glad to accept them here at the Central Services Building or at your child's school or school within your community. We'd love to have you. And then the new teacher cookout tomorrow night, we've already mentioned.
Okay.
So we've got a busy time going on.
And I want to wish all the families and students and teachers a great start to the school year. And for our graduating seniors that have gone on to universities and community colleges and military and searching for employment, I want to wish them a great, I know there's a lot of, even a board member or two that had somebody go off to school. So
Not yet, going Friday.
going Friday. Well, good luck to all of them.
Well, we've already moved some in, DC, so
Yeah.
we're ahead of you, Butch, so. Anything else? If not,
One other
Oh,
thing, I
okay,
almost
yes.
forgot.
Okay.
I had the opportunity to attend the County Commissioners NACO's conference in Durham last weekend, and I was also slipped in one of their meetings. I wanted to hear because I heard that they was going to be talking about some stuff that we needed to hear, and I was really elated to know that North Carolina is 81% graduates across the whole state.
Good.
Now that made me feel good. There was some more things too, but you know I forgot them. I'll bring them to you the next time I come because I wrote them down and I really forgot to bring them. But it's some things I only was interested in the things that was concerning the school system. Okay, so but that was good. 81% was really good for us. Okay.
so, well, at least if you were interested in acting interest, now they know you only interested in the schools.
Yeah, that was right. That was all I was there for.
So all
That
that
was
acting
it.
the whole week, the whole time you were there, they now know the truth.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, sir. I feel like you got some on your mind.
August 31st, Teacher of the Year, bank.
Principal Year, Teacher of the Year, August
Got a time
31st.
set for that?
What time?
6 o'clock.
6.
At EdTech.
At EdTech.
Ed Tech. Okay.
Lisa, you'll remind us about that.
She keeps us straight. Any last comments? If not,
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
got a motion, a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
That's what Thursday night.